What's going on, everybody? It's about that time for another GmiasWorld podcast. Today, I'm gonna just be going right into a special thing that I was sent by a friend. Basically, this is it's a female writer. She's from Nigeria. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I'll have all the descriptions for the YouTube people that wanted to research what she is, but Adichie, she's a writer that basically she goes out and she does speeches and talks to people and stuff like that, and just tries to relate as far as stereotypes and the effects that they have on people. With this article in particular that I was reading on, which it's on TED.com. They have like TED conversations for intelligent, whatever you want to dabble with and create a conversation about. TED.com. Like I said, for everybody that's listening to this on the website, it's going to also be released on YouTube, and I'll put the descriptions inside, for where to find this information about who I'm talking about with Adichie here, this female from Nigeria. Basically, this specific speech that she gave, it's called "The Danger of a Single Story," and basically she just goes on to say, like the way that everything is construed in America right now. Like it's like I don't know, like all black people like watermelon, but you know what I'm saying? I think that most Americans love watermelon. You get pictures of black people eating and they going hard, but I've seen white people eat watermelon just as much as a black person. So it's like, it's about stereotypes and how you don't even need to meet someone. It's a very, very interesting, lecture or speech that she gives. Like I said, I'll give the description in the I think I could probably put it on this also for people that watch it on the website or download it from iTunes so that you could see and actually listen to the speech. A very, very interesting topic, because stereotypes it does take away people's integrity and their dignity. Because like if you just believe that every Mexican has a weed whacker in their back pocket and that's all they're good for is weed whacking, it's really, what it is, like it's different with jokes than it is with actual reality. And a lot of people misconstrue a lot of these things and they just go with it. As far as it goes with like any type of ethnicity, everybody has like certain type of a joke that can be made or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So Adichie actually goes on to explain the danger of a single story, because these type of things are ingrained in us from young. Depending on what you learn. For instance, if you're born in the South and your parents come from a KKK background, you're taught to understand that black people are whatever they are, whatever is taught, and you have to stay away from that for these type of reasons, and that's just what it is. So your perception of black people, no matter what happens, unless you choose to change it, is going to be whatever it is. The same thing for, a person of color, a black person that preaches the difference with race to their young kids and make them understand that there are differences between us, when I don't believe that there are. It's just whether it's a nationality, ethnicity, that's it. We're all one race. In the words of Jersey Demick, we had an interview. He was on the podcast recently. We're all the same thing. It's all the same makeup. The Homo sapien and the one race is just different type of backgrounds and nationalities and things like that, and ethnicities. But the whole situation is this: it is a preconceived notion that if you find things out about something before you go into it, your mind just works that way to let you believe that person is, or whatever it is. That's the whole thing. It's like you're hanging out with your friend and they're like, "Yo, man, that dude right there, he did this, he did that." If you don't know the person, you're gonna react to that person as a different type of way than you naturally would. Because it's just the way that it is. It's just the way that the mind works. It's like you're giving a predisposal to that person's character, and you haven't even given them a chance. And it's funny that I say that, because I think that today is the anniversary. Today is the anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's speech, "I Have a Dream," where he actually says that. And he, it's just, regardless of a person's creed, nationality, color, whatever it is, people have to begin to understand that in 2013, we have to all be able to judge people by what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't judge a book by its cover, but if somebody does something to you that's out of character, you have to judge them based on that. I'm not saying don't judge, because I judge people all the time, and I want people to judge me based on my actions and what I do. And as far as people that are around me that I care for, Those are the people that I'm concerned with. The other people could go fuck themselves. It doesn't matter, because when you don't care what people think, people take it upon themselves to have a certain type of feeling about you, and that's why they have problems with you, because you're not looking for that interaction. You're not looking for that type of I need you to like me. And people that need people to like them, that's a very unsafe thing to do. Overall, in any type of aspect, you should never feel as if you need someone to love you. Parents, whatever, if it's your parents, your friends, girlfriend, whatever, it doesn't matter. You have to judge people based on what they are to you. I tell my family all the time, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I know you're my brother. I know you're my sister. I know you're my mom. But if you do something to me that presents yourself as somebody that's against me, I have to treat you as such. That's just the way it is. It's being objective and understanding that realistically, the people that fuck you over the most is usually your family. And it's not like something you have to do, like figure out in hindsight. It's just percentage by the numbers. Jealousy is key, but a lot of other factors go into the equation. People have to begin to understand that it's a lot more involved. The way you should treat people and how you expect to be treated. So it's not about going after somebody's love and affection. It's about being yourself and understanding that, certain things that everyone does, they can be better people if they change certain things. But if you're changing it for the sole purpose of getting love, it doesn't really make much sense, because if that's you, that's you. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying, like I always say, I'm not saying if you're doing something completely ridiculous. If you're doing something completely ridiculous, like you got a family at home and you're going to the club every night, you know what I'm saying? And, oh yeah, but I'm not fucking nobody though. Regardless if it's man or woman. Yeah, listen, you don't need to be in a club if you got a family. You know what I'm saying? If whatever else you're doing, whatever else kind of scenario that's going on that is obvious that you're in the wrong in what you're doing, that's beyond what I'm speaking of now. That doesn't meet this criteria. I'm just saying in general, just trying to go after something that you don't need to go after. I'm not talking about something that you are already a part of. You already have a family. You already have certain things that are going on, and then you're trying to make excuses of why you can't do this. And you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm not gonna do that because of this. But what do you mean you're not gonna do? What do you mean you're gonna go to the club? You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, look, you got a baby at home, but you going to the club shaking your ass for cash. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, it's all different type of scenarios with it, but the basis of the situation, of the danger of a single story, is that we are already predisposed to something and already made an opinion before we actually experienced it for ourselves, and that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like, when I was younger, my mom banked with Citibank. And I had this whole preconceived notion of Citibank being a rip-off bank because they charge fees and they weren't a good bank. And for most of my life, I avoided Citibank. I went with Chase and all this other bullshit, Wells Fargo. And it turned out that Citibank was actually the best bank for me. And I've been with them forever now. Because it's not about every bank has to charge fees. But it's about when you have a single parent and it's a struggle and she couldn't keep certain amount of money in the account, she was charged, and she didn't really understand why she was being charged for it, because certain people don't do any type of research. They just assume that, okay, you're charging me and my money is in there. That's not fair. I'm going to do this. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much the situation there. That's pretty much how it goes. It's like this. If you don't get to experience it yourself, that's gonna give someone else an unfair advantage of being able to meet you, understand you, possibly become friends with you, possibly create a long-standing relationship. Because you have to be able to understand that in this world that we live in today, if people weren't able to go against the preconceived notions and understand that, okay, maybe every person of color is not the way, that they have been, shown, that we have been able to perceive them as. It's no way possible people can really think that, one person can be responsible for a revolution of any type of equality and, trying to get a different type of mindset along the lines of how we should treat each other. No one person, no one race can be responsible for that. It had to be people from every type of thing. to actually come together. In this case, being the white community of people that had higher power and higher money to say, all right, listen, let's try to figure something out to stop this shit. Okay, yeah, the violence and the things like that, contributed to helping to get certain things done, which is why I believe that Martin Luther King's nonviolence would have been nothing without Malcolm X having to use violence, because you need to do certain things to revolutionize, something. Usually it's gonna take war and revolution to change something that's been hardening to the system or whatever it is. You're gonna need some type of embattlement. You're gonna need some type of change. You can't just expect it to happen peacefully, because most people that are in higher positions of power don't understand words. It's only violence, because they're above that norm that we see. They're above that. Whatever it is that they do, they don't see below them. So usually it takes them. It takes having to take something away from them in a violent nature to grasp their attention. And that's just the reason behind revolution. Sometimes, in most cases, that's why violence is necessary in certain situations, because if it's something that needs to be changed and people can't meet with a certain type of understanding, it's going to present a lot of animosity. And in one of Jersey Demick's songs, necessity is the creator of crime, because people need to have certain things. And I'm not just saying like the regular deadbeat person that doesn't want to get up and do anything for themselves. I'm talking about somebody that's really trying to do something, and then there's nothing there. And then, they create a way to make money that's not the perfect way. It's not legal, and a lot of various things goes on with it. And people are like, wow, man, that guy's, that guy shouldn't have did that, man. That guy shouldn't have went and, robbed that bank. He shouldn't have did that. And then you go and look into his background, and he has a college degree, and he spent all this money and has all these loans and has no way to pay it and can't get a job in the field that he graduated with a master's with. It's different scenarios for everything. But people have to understand that before they judge what everybody's doing, they got to understand and be able to walk through that person's shoes, because it's gonna happen, because that's the way the design of the world is. You can't expect people to just sit back and allow everything to just happen the way it is, and nobody really says anything in a unified sense. So it's sort of like you just go with whatever the flow is and allow it to happen. But if nobody says anything and continue, just let it go. That's what it is. Let it go. This is what's gonna happen. It just creates more of this of this disaster that we live in today, where Stephen A. Smith said it today earlier. Well, not Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, where he said that Riley Cooper goes out and says that he'll fight all these niggers, okay, and the NFL can't fine him because in the new collective bargaining agreement, once the team gives him a fine, that's it. So he gets away with it. Basically, besides what we know, he gets away with it. And like I said, it's not about him actually getting away with it, because we don't know what goes on behind. He claims that he was fined something substantial. He went to go seek help. All this other bullshit that he's saying. It doesn't really matter, because we don't know exactly what he did. But what I'm trying to say is this: it's what we perceive. What was the perception of what we saw? For somebody that doesn't believe in prejudice or racism, what was that? Was that something that brought us back to a different time for somebody to be able to do that and get away with it? Or is it like, okay, it's just okay for him to do that in the limelight? Because NFL is a predominantly African-American Negro sport. So what are we saying as a people if we allow it to go on? This is what it boils down to. How are you able to distinguish what should be considered something that we should revolutionize as opposed to something that we let slide? It's a very, very thin line between both those things. And people have to understand that, in order for there to be change, sometimes it is necessary for violence to occur. But as far as we've come now, it's amazing to know, like, that if I was born 50, 60, 70 years ago, then I would have adapted. I can't say, oh yeah, bro, I would have been out there revolutionizing and doing whatever like that. Why? Because depending on if I was in the South, the North, wherever I was, my family with the predisposed experience to what was going on would have kind of hindered me to understand that this is the way we are living now. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say that I would be the way I am now because that's not realistic. And I don't deal with mystification and, you know, I can't falsify what I would be and say, oh yeah, I'd be arrogant. No, you can't. Because at that time, being a black African American Negro, there were certain things that you just couldn't do. So when I say just couldn't do, I mean that it's a heritage. It becomes a tradition that we just can't do this. There's separate bathrooms. We have to use those separate bathrooms. You know what I'm saying? We needed people to step up, but it wasn't just, you know, the black leaders that stepped up. It was other white people that were involved. It's like, listen, this shit is getting too close to what we're doing and it's affecting too much. We got to do something. And all those things combined is what leads to change. So you know what I'm saying? So it's all about what you come from. A lot of these things that we have right now, we're predisposed to it. So I'm going to put all the links and everything into The Danger of a Single Story. And from what I'm taking this from, so that you guys can understand. And I'm going to touch on this later, possibly, you know, with someone else, and see how we can relate to make it a different conversation. As far as the Ask Gmia questions, I'm going to get back to that shortly. I know King Nate and a lot of other guys were leaving, not King Nate, D Nate. He left a lot of comments and concerns or whatever he was doing. I'm going to definitely get at you with that. I'll see what I'm going to talk about and what I'm going to respond to on the website. But I want you guys to touch base with me on this. Leave a comment on the YouTube video, or, you know, hit me up the way you guys know how to do on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. And I'm going to get back to this and, you know, touch base with you guys. And until next time, one love.